Okay, today we're going to make a paracord wrist survival system, and it incorporates 15 different elements of items that you'll need for surviving. And this is what you'll end up with. These are the 15 different items that go into the wrist survival system, including 12 feet of paracord, the center of the wrist survival system is using a 42-inch length of military grade paracord, from which I'm pulling out the inside and just reserving the husk. I've tied off the center of the paracord wrist survival system between two of the buckles on the jig. Currently I have it set at about 8 1/4. It's going to end up to be about 8 1/2 because you get some stretching that goes on during the process. What I've done is just tied off the end here, and this is going to loop over for the next part. I've got 7 feet of jute twine here that I'm going to wrap with the cobra weave over the center. Again, this has been hollowed out to reduce some of the bulk there. So I'm going to assume that you know the cobra weave, but when you tie this on here, make sure everything is continuously tight, and slide it up as you're doing it. Just keep weaving it with the cobra weave. Tighten, slide it up. You see I've gotten here all the way to the end. Got a little bit left over, and I'm going to snip, but I want to get this cinched up as close as I can to the buckle at the end here. What I've done is melt about equivalent of a half of a tea light candle and soaked it into the center portion of the paracord survival system. Let that cool. I thread the ferrocerium rod onto the hollowed out paracord, slide it down the end there. Now we're going to have to overlap here just a little bit, so I'm just going to cut this off right about here. What we're going to do here is eventually merge two pieces of paracord together. First thing I'm going to do is add the snare wire to the paracord. I've wrapped this so it's about 5 inches. So 19 twists of 5 inches will give you about your 8 feet. Tighten this up best I can, because what we're going to do is slide it right down the middle here. It actually moves along pretty quick once you get going. Done the same thing with the fishing line. 19 wraps of 5 inches give you about the 8 feet you need. Slide this down the other side. Once you get those both stuffed into the sides here, you're going to have about 1 inch of play here, which is what you need, because you're going to take another piece of paracord and weld it together with this one here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I've got 2 lengths of paracord here. I've got one black and one orange. They're about 7 feet. Doesn't hurt to have a little more until you figure out what exactly you need. But I'm going to stick this into here to merge these two together. I've got about 1/2 inch of play there. I'm going to do the same thing with the black side here. I've got about a 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch of play there. I'm sticking that inside the hollowed one till I get down there a little ways. Then I'm just going to seal it up a little bit here, just to keep them together for momentarily. To sew them together with just a couple stitches here. It helps create the integrity that I want in this weld here. If you want to put a little redundancy in this seam here, just a dab of super glue ought to do it. Okay, as we start your weave here, this is going to be using the ladder weave, so you might want to look up a video or two on that technique, because I'm not really going to spend a lot of time on it. There's a lot of other people that do a better job than me. But you start your ladder weave at this point and keep it close to the top. Important that you keep this whole thing snug while you're doing it, which is one of the reasons I like to stitch that weld, because you're doing a lot of pulling here. And you're going to stitch this about 3 times, and then you're going to add your compass. The compass is just part of the weave that goes over the top. It'll take 4 over the top trips here to secure this. Again, it's just the one that goes over the top each time. I like to continue several passes beyond the compass and make sure everything's cinched up, and then we're going to move on to the next part. The center package here has the number 10 surgical steel blade in its pouch here. I like to open this up just about halfway and trim off the excess here. So into here we're going to put our fish hooks, 2 panfish hooks. You're probably not going to be bass fishing in a situation like this. The most likely opportunity you would have would be to catch bluegills or something of that sort, or trout, in which case a smaller hook is going to be better, fishing close to shore. Stuff all this stuff inside the packet, along with the aqua tabs. There's 2 aqua tabs in each little pouch that's individually wrapped. That's why I like them. They're not, you open the container and they're spoiling. All that stuff has pretty much fit right into this little pouch here. Seal it over on the sides, and we're going to attach it to the wrist survival system. So I've got the package that contains the fish hooks, swivels, surgical steel blade, and aqua tabs, and then outside of that I'm just going to fold into this here a section of carbon steel hacksaw blade, which is going to be our striker. So I've added the pouch to the center here using some electrical tape, wrapped it tightly around the middle. Now, and I've continued the ladder weave down to this point here, at which I'm going to add one of these little decorative beads here. They do have function. You can use them on your fishing line to weight it, so it's not totally useless. decoration. So I add that on there and continue with the weave. Alright, so I've added the second skull bead here. I got one facing each direction in case you want to wear the paracord bracelet flipped around. And I've done enough weaves in between here to add my center reflective mirror. Depending on the size of it, this one is 1 3/4 inches. This one here is drilled. I took a hard titanium drill bit and put an 1/8 inch hole in either end of it, and then on this here, if you peel this white stuff off, you got your shiny mirror. It's polished mirror stainless steel. When you get down to the end here, I find it helpful to use what they call a fid. It's basically like a needle that you stick the end of the paracord into, because it gets kind of tight down there. And you finish up your weaves with this. It just screws right into the end there. Once I get to the end, I like to use the fid to pull the cord underneath the back side here. Tighten it. Do the same for the orange. Pull it in there. Fish it underneath. Okay, the last thing is to secure the mirror on here, just using a piece of wire with a heavy gauge needle that I've filed the tip down so it's not quite as sharp, so it doesn't stick into the paracord when you're trying to thread it. I'm just going to go to the left of the skull here. One paracord wrist survival system with 15 different survival elements integrated into one.